valleys. He's beside us all the way. With His grace and His mercy, He's our refuge every day. Immanuel, God is with us, always by our side.
Welcome back to the Immanuel, God is with us podcast. We are continuing our journey through the Sermon on the Mount. Last time, we saw how Jesus traced murder back to the heart's anger. Today, He does the same with the seventh commandment. Let's look at Matthew 5:27-30. You know what's fascinating? Studies show that the average person makes over 35,000 decisions every single day, but Jesus zeroes in on one specific choice that He says can change everything. What we do with that first moment of temptation.
That's such an interesting way to frame this teaching from Matthew 5. And it's pretty radical how Jesus takes this commandment about adultery and completely transforms our understanding of it.
Well, let's look at His exact words. He says, "You have heard it said, 'Do not commit adultery.' But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery in their heart." He's basically saying the action starts way before any physical behavior.
And the Greek word He uses for look is really specific, isn't it? It's not about that first glance or natural attraction.
Right. It's about that intentional choice to keep looking, to let those thoughts take root. You know, it's like the difference between a bird flying over your head and letting it build a nest in your hair.
That's exactly what makes this teaching so relevant today. I mean, with smartphones and social media, we're making hundreds of these little choices every day about what we'll let our minds dwell on.
And then Jesus uses this incredibly stark language about gouging out eyes and cutting off hands. Biblical scholars call this Oriental Hyperbole, intentionally extreme language to make an unforgettable point.
So what's He really getting at with such dramatic imagery?
Well, He's saying if your Instagram account is causing you to stumble, delete it. If certain relationships are compromising your integrity, end them. If specific habits are leading you into sin, cut them out completely. Don't try to manage sin, amputate it.
That's pretty countercultural in a world that's all about moderation and managing our vices, isn't it?
Absolutely right. And here's what's fascinating. Research shows that when people try to moderate exposure to temptation rather than eliminate it, they're 3 times more likely to fall back into old patterns.
You know, that reminds me of how addiction specialists talk about the importance of complete abstinence versus trying to control harmful behaviors.
Exactly. And Jesus gives this sobering motivation. It's better to lose something precious now than to lose everything in eternity. He's talking about the law of progressive destruction, how unchecked sin always leads to bigger consequences.
That's such an important point about the progressive nature of sin. It never stays contained, does it?
Never. And here's what's interesting. Neuroscience actually backs this up. Every time we indulge in lustful thoughts, we're literally rewiring our brains, creating stronger neural pathways that make those thought patterns more automatic.
Well, that explains why Jesus puts such emphasis on dealing with sin at the thought level. He's protecting us from creating those deeper patterns.
Right, but, and this is crucial, He's not just giving us a higher standard to live up to. He's showing us our desperate need for a Savior. None of us can live up to this perfect standard on our own.
That's where grace comes in, isn't it? The same Jesus who gives us this challenging teaching also offers forgiveness and transformation.
Yes, and that's why we need to hold together 2 vital truths, the call to radical holiness and the reality of radical grace. Without the call to holiness, we might cheapen grace. But without grace, we'll fall into crushing legalism.
So how do we practically apply this teaching in our daily lives?
Well, it starts with honest self-examination. What are the right eyes or right hands in our lives that need to be removed? Maybe it's setting up accountability software, changing our entertainment choices, or making significant lifestyle changes.
That makes me think about how technology companies are now offering more tools for digital wellness and content filtering, like they're acknowledging this universal struggle.
Exactly. And you know what's encouraging? Studies show that people who have accountability partnerships are 85% more likely to make lasting behavioral changes. We're not meant to fight these battles alone.
That's such a hopeful note to end on. That transformation is possible, but it happens in community and through God's grace.
And that's really the heart of Jesus' teaching here. He's not just giving us rules to follow, he's offering us a new heart with new desires. Through his perfect life, death, and resurrection, we have both the pattern and the power to live lives of holiness.
Remember the heart of our study, Immanuel, God is with us. He provides the strength to flee temptation and the grace to start fresh when we fail.
Thanks for listening. May God bless you and your family in your going out and your coming in. Continue looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith.
In his love we find our strength. In his peace we find our way. Immanuel, God is with us, leading us today. With his word, he speaks to us, fills our hearts with light. Through his music, his whispers, he's our comfort in the fight.